Right, we're moving swiftly on once more. I'm really pleased with what we've done today. Hopefully everything will be up and running for you properly over the next couple of days. I have 2 chapters left to video before I would like to go live to read chapter 11 onwards at our set reading time in school. So, here we go with the next chapter. This is chapter 9. And it's called Fear, Vanity, Revenge, and Silly Jokes. March turned into April, and April turned into May. After Fireworm's remark about the pathetic bunny rabbit, Toothless never pooed in the kitchen again. But Hiccup hadn't made any further progress in training him. It was still raining, but it was a warm rain. The wind was blowing, but it was a less furious wind. It was just about possible to stand upright in it. The gulls' eggs were hatching on the rocks, and the parent gulls dive bombed Hiccup and Fishlegs when they came to the long beach to practice. "Kill, Horrorcow, kill!" said Fishlegs to Horrorcow, who was calmly perched on his shoulder. "You can have the black-backed gull for breakfast. He's barely half your size." "Honestly, Hiccup, I give up. I don't know how I'm going to pass the hunting section of the test. Horrorcow just doesn't have the killer instinct." She'd never ever survived in the wild. Hiccup laughed hollowly. "What? You think you've got problems? Toothless and I are failing right from the beginning. The basic obedience commands. The retrieval, the compulsory exercises, the hunting, the lot." "Can't be that bad," said Fishlegs. "Watch," said Hiccup. The boys moved along the beach a bit, slightly out of range of the gulls. They started practicing the most basic command of all. "Go!" The dragon was supposed to stand, bolt upright on the handler's outstretched arm. The handler would then bark the command as loudly as possible, while simultaneously lifting his arm to fling the dragon in the air. The dragon was supposed to soar gracefully into flight when the handler's arm reached its highest point. Horrorcow yawned, scratched, and slowly flapped off, grumbling to herself. Toothless was even less obedient. "Go!" yelled Hiccup. Hiccup flung his arm up. Toothless hung on. "I said go!" Hiccup repeated in frustration. "Why go?" shuddered Toothless, gripping even tighter. "Oh, just come on, go, 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 go!" screamed Hiccup, flapping his arm up and down frantically like a madman, while Toothless hanging on to it for dear life. Toothless stayed. "Toothless," said Hiccup, as reasonably as he could, "please go. If you don't start going when I tell you to, we are both going to be thrown into exile." "But I don't want to go," Toothless pointed out, equally reasonably. Fishleg watched the whole process in appalled amazement. "Wow, you really do have problems," he said in an almost awed voice. "Yep," said Hiccup. He finally managed to uncurl Toothless's claws, which had relaxed their grip for a second and pushed him off. Toothless landed on the sand with a squeal of outrage and immediately attached himself to Hiccup's legs, getting a good grip on the sandals with his talons and wrapping his wings around Hiccup's calf. "I'm not going," said Hiccup stubbornly. Said Toothless, apologies. "Not going," said Toothless stubbornly. "Can't get much worse than this," said Hiccup, "so I'm going to try a new tack." He took out the notebook in which he'd been jotting down all he knew about dragons in the hope that it might be useful. "Dragon motivation," Hiccup read aloud. "Number 1, gratitude," Hiccup sighed. 2, fear, that works, but I can't do it. 3, 4, 5, greed, vanity and revenge, those are all worth a try. 6, jokes and riddling talk, only if I'm desperate. "This has got to be a first," drawled Fishlegs. "But I'm with Gobber Belch on this one. Why don't you just yell a bit louder?" Hiccup ignored him. "Okay, Toothless," said Hiccup to the little dragon, who was pretending to be asleep as he held on to Hiccup's legs. "For every fish that you catch me, I will give you 2 more lobsters when you get home." Toothless opened his eyes. Alive, he said. Can Toothless kill them? Please, just this once. No, Toothless, said Hiccup firmly. I keep on telling you it isn't kind to torture smaller creatures smaller than yourselves. Toothless closed his eyes again. Ooh, you're so boring, he said sulkily. You're such a clever, quick dragon, flattered Hiccup. I bet you could catch more fish than any of the others on Thursday, if you really wanted to. Toothless opened his eyes to consider the matter. Twice as many, he said modestly. But I don't want to. This was unanswerable. Hiccup crossed Vanity off of his list. You know that big red fireworm dragon who was rude to you, said Hiccup. Toothless spat on the ground in indignation. Said I was a newt with wings. Said I was an incontinent bunny rabbit. Toothless is going to kill her. Toothless is going to scratch her out. Yeah, said Hiccup hastily. That fireworm dragon and her master, who looks like a pig, think that fireworm is going to catch more fish than anybody else at the Thursday celebrations. Think how stupid they're going to look if you win the prize for most promising dragon. Toothless got off of Hiccup's leg. I will think about that, said Toothless. He waddled off a couple of feet and thought about it. Five minutes later, he was still thinking. He let out the odd chuckle every now and again, but every time Hiccup said, "So, how about it then?" he just replied, "Still thinking, go away." With a sigh, Hiccup put a line through revenge. "Okay," said Fishlegs, looking over Hiccup's shoulder. "You've tried everything else. How about jokes and riddling talk? I assume you are desperate." "Toothless," said Hiccup. "If you catch me a nice big mackerel, you will be the cleverest, fastest dragon on Berk. And you will make that fireworm dragon look like an idiot. And you will have all the lobsters you can eat when we get home. And I will tell you a really good joke." Toothless turned round. "Oh, Toothless loves jokes." He flapped onto Hiccup's arm again. "All right, Toothless help you. But not because me being nice, nothing like that, nothing yucky." "Oh, no, of course not," said Hiccup, "of course not. Us dragons are cruel and mean, but we do love a joke. Tell me one now." Hiccup laughed. "No way. After you bring me a mackerel." "Okay then," said Toothless. He jumped off Hiccup's arm into the air. A dragon hunting is a very impressive sight, even a scrawny infant one like Toothless. He flew across the beach in his usual untidy, lopsided fashion, shrieking a few insults at the seagulls along the way. But as soon as he reached the sea, Toothless grew. He seemed to grow a bit. The sea salt awoke in him some ancestral memory of the great pedigree hunting monsters that were his forefathers. He spread out his wings like a kite and flew fairly swiftly over the surface of the choppy waves, keeping his body and wings steady as he searched for the movement of fish. He spotted something and soared upwards in circles until he was so high that Hiccup craned his neck backwards on the beach, could only see him just as a tiny little speck. The speck was motionless for a second. And then Toothless dived. His wings folded by his side, dropping like a stone out of the sky. He disappeared into the water and was gone for quite a while. Dragons can stay underwater for at least 5 minutes if they want to, and Toothless got quite distracted while he was under there, chasing one fish and then another, unable to decide which was the biggest. Hiccup got bored and was looking for oysters when Toothless came bursting triumphantly out at sea, carrying a small mackerel. He dropped the mackerel at Hiccup's feet, did 3 somersaults in a row, and landed on Hiccup's head. He let out the dragon's cry of triumph, which is a bit like a rooster crowing, but a lot louder and a lot more self-satisfied. Then he leant over and stared into Hiccup's eyes, kind of upside down. "Now, tell me a joke," said Toothless. "Ugh, whimpering Woden," said Hiccup. "He did it. He really did it." "Tell me a joke," said Toothless again. "What's black and white and red all over?" asked Hiccup. Toothless didn't know. "A sunburnt penguin," replied Hiccup. It was a very, very, very old joke, but apparently it hadn't made it to Wild Dragon Cliff. Toothless thought it was hysterically funny. He flew off to catch more fish so he could hear more jokes. In actual fact, it was quite an enjoyable afternoon. The rain stopped, the sun shone, and Toothless didn't do too badly at all with the hunting. He dropped a few fish and at one point wandered off entirely to chase rabbits on the cliff tops, but he did come back when Hiccup called. Eventually, and by the end of a couple of hours, he had caught 6 medium-sized mackerel and a dogfish. All in all, Hiccup was pretty satisfied. "After all," he said to Fishlegs, "it's not like I'm expecting to win the prize for most promising dragon or anything. All I need is to show that Toothless is basically under my control, and for him to catch a few fish. We'll make fools of ourselves compared to Snout and his beastly hunting legend, but at least we'll have passed the initiation." What was more, as Toothless dropped the last mackerel on the heap in front of Hiccup, Fishlegs noticed something sharp and gleaming in the dragon's lower jaw. "Toothless has got his first tooth," said Fishlegs. It seemed a very good omen. As they staggered home, they passed old Wrinkly, who was just sitting on a rock watching them for the past couple of hours. "Very impressive," wheezed old Wrinkly, as the boys showed him the fish wrapped up in Hiccup's cloak. "We reckon Hiccup might really pass the final initiation test on Thursday, said Fishlegs excitedly. "So, you're still worrying about that piddly little test, are you, Hiccup?" asked old Wrinkly. "There are larger concerns, you know. There's a ginormous storm brewing up, for instance. It should hit us in about 3 days. "Piddly little test," said Fishlegs indignantly. "What do you mean, piddly little test?" "The Thursday event is the biggest festival and biggest event of the whole year. Everybody who is anybody will be there. All the hairy hooligans and the meatheads, plus, and this may not seem important to you, but anybody who fails this piddly little test gets put into exile to get eaten up by cannibals or something equally gruesome." "I'm going to call myself Hiccup the Useful and his dragon Toothful," said Hiccup, beaming. "I thought of it just now, and I'm really pleased with it. It's solid, it's dependable, it's not too flash, and there's very little to live up to." "This reptile finally got his act together and caught some fish," said Fishlegs, pointing at Toothless, who was picking his nose with one claw. "Incredible though it all may seem, Hiccup may actually pass this test after all." "Oh, I think it's almost a certainty," said old Wrinkly, looking at Toothless, who was now attempting to cross his eyes and falling down in the process. "Almost," repeated old Wrinkly thoughtfully. And the boys went home, with Toothless following behind them, whining, "Oh, carry me, it's not fair, my wings ache." And then, we're ready to see what happens at the Thursday Festival, which is chapter 10, which I will begin just in a little while. I hope you're enjoying this, guys. I know certainly I've had one or two parents that have had a look at the prologue and the first chapter, and it means a lot actually, because it is quite a difficult time, and I'd like to. I mean, I'll do a separate video anyway, but I'd like to send out a big thank you to Ava Lily Chapman's stepdad Alex, who is really helping me from where he is, because he's a bit of a, in his own words, he's a bit of a YouTube geek. So he's helping me try and get this up and running and sort of adapt the page and everything else. So massive big thanks to Alex, and hopefully, you never know, we might just get another couple of chapters done and I'll be able to read from Monday, fingers crossed, going live on Monday at 3 PM for everybody to tune into, just like Joe Wicks and his PE at 9. So touch wood, fingers crossed. We'll have a good go at that next week. Yeah, I shall crack on with chapter 10 in a little while. Thank you, everybody. I hope you're all keeping safe and well. Do make sure you're washing your hands. Do make sure you are getting your little bit of exercise. Don't be crowding out in big gangs of people. And yeah, make sure you're doing your folders of work as well. But don't cram it all in one go. There's loads there to take you ages. Just a couple of things to say while I'm on this kind of train of thought. We have had a few emails in our new year 4 email address. We've got some lovely work. We've got one or two kids that have produced some really good stuff. Riley, in one of the, I think Miss Wilson's, Riley and Miss Wilson's has done. He's done his Viking longboat. He's built his Viking longboat and he's going to test it out in the bath tonight. And we've had a few other little bits and pieces come through as well. Keep them coming. I know it's difficult for everybody. Hopefully these little things and the bits of work and packs we've done for you will keep us ticking over. We'll keep us ticking over. Keep going, guys. We'll see you all soon. Cheers. Tatty bye.